And welcome back, once again adventurers, to Let's Play Steins Gate. In the last episode, Rintaro leapt back to the 11th and went on a bit of a stakeout to try and intercept the mystery customer who appeared at the street vendor the night of the 11th. Unfortunately, said customer turned out to be none other than Daru, who was hoping to fake Suzuha into thinking that they'd found her father by making copies of the pen that she had, which, needless to say, was an absolutely terrible plan. Unfortunately, Daru revealed that Suzuha's time machine has a very noticeable flaw. The fact that, due to the fact that it was incomplete at the time of CERN's raid in 2036, it can only go backwards in time, not forwards. Which is a huge setback.
ビルに突き刺さっちゃってるけど、すずさんが無事でよかったね。
And Mayuri is basically going to say the same things that she did the last time we had this conversation. Because she hasn't spoken them yet, technically.
重力うんたらかんたら装置の座標がちょっとでもずれるとね、タイムマシンごとゼリーマンになっちゃってプルンプルンかなんだそうです。
Yeah, there is also that small little setback as well.
しかもね、あのタイムマシンってセルン製じゃないからあんまり安定してないって。
Unstable is probably a misnomer at this point, now that we know that it actually is incomplete. And unfortunately, because of how damaged it is, and even if it was undamaged, I doubt that we could actually program it to go forward in time in the span of 2 days.
1975年に行く時が心配だな。
And so is Rintaro, now that he knows firsthand that once Suzuha goes back to 1975, she can never return.
二人乗りだったらね、一緒に行ってあげられたのにね。
Given the fact of what we know now, that would actually be a bad idea, because if Mayuri were to go back with her, she too would basically have to spend 35 years before entering 2010. In which case, she would be 51, I think.
お前が一緒に行ってどうするのだ?
Of course, Rintaro keeps in character and asks her what she would do if she went back to 1975.
決まってるよ。すずさんの手をギューって握ってね。大丈夫。マユシーが一緒だから大丈夫だよって応援してあげるの。
And Mayuri gives her a pep talk once again. Of course, as before, I don't think that's particularly going to help Suzuha. And Rintaro has absolutely nothing to say in this matter.
ねえねえオカリ、あのタイムマシンって名前はついてるのかな?
I think vaguely it was something like FG204 something something. Although, since you don't know that yet, you're probably going to take a look and find out yourself.
タイタンに直接聞けばいい。
ああ、そうだね。マユシーうっかりしてたよ。
And Rintaro is probably starting to wear under the fact of actually living the same events for a second time. And off Mayuri goes to speak to Suzuha, and she's back again. Mayuri giggles, then runs off to talk to Suzuha, and she returns a few seconds later.
名前あった
Well, it's not necessarily a name, more like a designation, really.
FG204 なんとかなんとかだって。
Yeah, we still don't know what the something something is.
ダル君とすずさんって結構お似合いだと思わない？
I shouldn't need to remind everyone that Daru is a famous nyan-nyan otaku. I look at Suzuha and Daru again.
ダルはそもそもフェイリス萌えだ。
So that line of thought is rather moot.
あ、そっか。そうなのかな。
She tilts her head to the side.
ねえねえ、マユシーもタイムマシンもっとよく見てきていいかな。
And she wants to take a closer look, so why not? I nod, and Mayuri runs over the time machine again. Behind her, the sun glows dark and orange on the horizon. As Mayuri leaves, Suzuha comes over to stand by me. Our shadows are long and murky in the fading light. We are probably going to have this conversation again. But we'll have to bear with it.
橋田至ってすごいね。タイムマシンさ、突貫工事とはいえ、うまくすると明日には直せるかもって。
It almost feels like, if I didn't know any better, I'd say we were back in the last couple of episodes. But fortunately, I do know better. And this is not the last couple of episodes, because that would just be crazy. And Rintaro is staying silent because we've already been through this spiel before. It just makes things rather awkward for us in this case.
見た目は不摂生そうで冴えない感じなのにね。
And for some reason she said the exact same thing that she said, even though Rintaro didn't say anything about Daru's reliability. And given his antics, I question that statement now. Yeah, unfortunately there is no point in hiding the fact that we know just what your problem is. A refreshing breeze blows by. It was quite hot a few minutes ago, but the temperature is finally starting to drop.
さ、
We can't stay in character anymore, Rintaro. We have to
今
let
言
her
わな
know.
いと機会を永遠に逃しちゃいそうだから言うけど。
Well, before we were worried about the fact that the world line would be overwritten as a result of her changes, which would still technically happen when she obtains the IBN 5100. However, knowing the fact that she can't go forward in time puts a whole new spin on things. And as such, Rintaro is consumed by that particular knowledge.
聞いてる？
Yeah, funny that. We could probably quote you verbatim because we already know everything that you've said up until this point. After a moment's hesitation, I give a little nod.
私さ、君たちには本当に感謝してるんだ。
I think we should be the ones who could be grateful to you.
初めてこの時代に来た時、私の知ってる人は誰もいなくて、戦ってばっかりだった私の時代とは全然違ってて。
And for those of you who have skipped over the last couple of episodes, she is basically lamenting the fact that she didn't really know anyone traveling 26 years back into the past to 2010.
この時代の方がすごく平和なのにさ、なんだか私にとってはすごく怖かった。
It is definitely amazing how a little piece of knowledge can ultimately change your perception here, but she is basically reminiscing about her timeline of 2036 and the resistance against CERN.
でもさ、今こうして自分の全てを晒せる友達、 仲間ができた。
Yeah, about those secrets, we know one that you didn't share with us, the one that Daru ultimately revealed to us.
私が生まれる前に生きていた人たちと出会えて、私のためなんかにみんな頑張ってくれてる。
That statement remains fundamentally unchanged.
それってとっても奇妙で、だけどとっても嬉しいんだよね。
We should probably interrupt this conversation before we have to listen to its entirety all over again.
その気持ちは本当だから。
Well, once again, thank you very much for telling us that, but we already know this. I've heard these words before. Just like last time, her tone is wistful. Except this time, we know just exactly why. A time machine can only leap to the past. We have to let her know that we know. The truth I heard from Daru plays in my head in an endless refrain.
この時代に来ることができて、君たちと同じ時間を過ごせて、私本当に楽しかった。
Indeed, but once you go back, you can't come back, basically.
っていうか、君たちみんな揃いも揃って我が強くて、癖があって、いろいろと濃すぎて、最初はなんだこいつらなんて思ってたけどさ。
And I don't even have the mental fortitude to repeat the words that I said 2 episodes ago at this point.
いつの間にか君たちといる時間が楽しくなってたよ。
Even though I can't see his face, I can tell that Rintaro is probably chomping at the bit to basically break this monotony and tell Suzuha the truth.
2036年はさ、とっても平和で喧嘩すら起きないんだ。知ってた？
Well, actually we do know that because you were the one who posted that under the name of John Titor. And this is the part where Rintaro mentions that he couldn't possibly have known that since he technically died prior to 2036. But this time, he just shakes his head.
とにかくさ、喧嘩すら起きない。およそ争いって名のつくものは、ミクロなものからマクロなものまで全部消えちゃった。
I had to move this along, but basically, dystopian future, CERN controls all aspects of society, and we've already heard this before.
その代わり、みんな死んだ魚みたいな目をしてた。
But Rintaro just continues to listen on in silence.
誰も覇気がなくて、歩く足はズリズリってすり足で。
Indeed.
笑いはするけど、怒ったり悲しんだりはしなくて。
If I were Rintaro at this point, I would stop her now while we're ahead.
個性なんて誰も持ってなかった。みんなロボットみたいだった。この前、君が私にすごく怒ったでしょ。
You thought you thought we got mad before. Well, consider how mad we're going to be right at this moment. Or you're about to, at any rate.
あの時、すごくびっくりして、すごくショックだったんだけど、同時にすごく嬉しくなったんだよ。
And yet, you eventually have to let go of that happiness at some point. And Rintaro clearly cannot take this anymore. Suzuha looks at the time machine. Daru and Mayuri are standing next to it, talking cheerfully about something or another.
君のラボに出入りしてるみんなは生き生きしてて、すごく眩しい。
Now this is the part where Rintaro would ultimately say that she is the enviable one, but since we've already been through this before...
椎名真由里も橋田至も牧瀬クリスもそれに君も私もみんなみたいになりたいって思ったよ。こうして頑張れてるのも君たちと会えたおかげ。ほんのちょっとでもラボメンの一員になれてよかった。
I believe we have to put a stop to this. She smiles then, a soft, sad smile that tears at my heart, even more than previously. Now that we know her secret, this time I know what that smile means, and what she has to sacrifice.
ほんのちょっとの間でも君たちと一緒にいられてよかった。
Suzuha obviously knew from the beginning that if she traveled to 1975, she could never return.
岡部倫太郎、きっと未来を変えてね。今みたいな自由な世界に変えて。
As I said before, Suzuha Mane, I make no promises, only that we will try our very best, and that's all we can do. The first time I heard her speak these words, I thought she was sentimental because she couldn't return to her original 2036. But I was wrong, dead wrong. Forget about 2036, she can't even return here to 2010, not without living 35 years. She'll be 54 when 2010 comes around. The present us and the present Suzuha can never meet again. Suzuha chose this mission. To change the future, to save Mayuri. Unless Suzuha travels to 1975, Mayuri will die. Unless we can break into CERN's echelon network and delete the very first email they intercepted, Mayuri will die. But then, what about Suzuha herself? When she leaves for 1975, she'll have to sacrifice everything she has here. How does she feel about that?
思い出を
It's time to let her know the truth.
後悔しているか。
どういうこと？
No point in hiding it now.
どうせ1975年へ行くのならば、この2010年において俺たちと仲良くならなければよかった。
Those are very good questions.
思ったことはない。そうすればお前が捨てるべき生きてきた痕跡は一つで済んだ。
And it's at this point that Suzuha should finally realize that we know why.
お前は事実上2回自分の存在を殺すことになる。
もしかして橋田至から聞いた？
Indeed he did. Not that there's anyone else who would have told us. Suzuha frowns.
あいつもお前のことを心配している。
たく、誰にも言うなって念を押しといたのに。
It's too late now.
お前は1975年へ行くことについてどう思っている？
どうもこうもないよ。
She gives a solemn response. Suzuha's expression suddenly hardens.
私は行かなきゃいけないんだ。それが私が選んだ道だし、父さんの意志でもある。
And the sad thing is that if she doesn't, then the future that we're trying to prevent will continue on and on and on.
もし 俺やダルが止めたら。
Unfortunately, that is not possible, and we both know that, as Suzuha affirms.
アットチャンネルでも言われた。私だけの考えで何億人にも影響を与えるような過去改変を行うとは何様だってね。
That was either one of the anonymous users or probably Kurisu under the name of Kuri Gohan and Kamehameha.
でもさ、あんな未来にはなってほしくないから。私は君たちみたいに自由で笑い合って時には喧嘩もして争いがあって悲しい時もある。
Well, if this... Sorry,
私が生まれた時代の人たちに送ってもらいたいし。
I keep interrupting at this point, and I entirely apologize every time I do that, or whether I skip the dialogue too early. But, hopefully we can achieve, that future that she wants, thanks to, your actions.
未来を変えれば、きっと、父さんも、椎名真由里も、君も、セルンに殺されること、なくなるだろうから。
If we can, make it to the beta world line, then that future will be a reality.
エゴかもしれないけど、私は行く。
After all, to point this out, the dystopian CERN from 2036 didn't have a right to meddle with time and create a kind of existential time and space empire, but they went ahead and did it anyway, so why not Suzuha to undo that?
そのためならお前自身はどうなってもいいと。
Unfortunately, too many prices have been paid to get to this point, and something tells me that we're going to have to pay many more in the near future.
何言ってんの？70年代だって悪くないよ。そこでまた君たちみたいな愉快な友達を作って自由に生きていくよ。
Well, I suppose the silver lining into all this is that once you go back to 1975 and wait for a couple of years, you can actually see the actual premiere of the original Star Wars film in 1977. And you'll be able to tell everyone about that. And just like that, Suzuha is back to her usual self. But despite her cheerful smile, I am certain that her resolve was forged in fear and doubt, the likes which few can imagine. I was a fool to think that my words could sway her. I think this was a choice from the very start. And with that, nighttime falls, and a new day dawns. Beneath the clear blue sky, the time machine comes to life. Daru's repairs are complete. Mayuri and I help drain the last of the water out of the cockpit. The machine is still stuck in the radio building's wall, but that is a small matter, because once it's gone, hopefully we'll have to be out of here before it disappears, because otherwise people are going to see us, and not to mention the roof might collapse upon our heads. But before that, a final farewell. Daru gazes at the time machine with a satisfied expression. And Mayuri is jumping for joy, and Kurisu is here, who ran over as soon as she completed the time loop machine, and is visibly relieved. So it's the afternoon, obviously. Meanwhile, Suzuha is struggling to attach her mountain bike to the time machine's exterior. She likes it so much, she wants to bring it with her to 1975. Well, I don't see why not. Kurisu was worried that it might create a time paradox. My heart is still heavy. Should I let Suzuha leave like this? We can't really stop her even if we tried, and we definitely did try. I tried myself for the thought. It's not my choice to make. Suzuha isn't from this time. If she doesn't want to stay, then I have no reason to keep her from leaving. It's not that she doesn't want to, it's the fact that she doesn't really have a choice. None of us do at this point. Suzuha finishes securing her bicycle and turns to us with a soft smile. It's not the painful forced smile I saw yesterday. We don't perform a startup test. Activating the time machine would draw too much attention. So we're just going to wing it. Fortunately, we have the time leap machine for insurance, just in case. My only regret is that we couldn't find her father. But we did the best we could.
本当にサンキューね。なんてお礼を言っていいやら。
The honor was ours, to be honest.
マユシーたちのこと忘れちゃ嫌だよ。
I'm sure she won't, and there is a very real possibility that we might encounter each other again.
僕とチュッチュしてください。
There's no time for your usual antics, Daru.
変態は自重しろ。
For once I'm in agreement with Kurisu on this one. But then I'm always in agreement with Kurisu when it comes to Daru. The lab members pat Suzuha on the shoulder and offer words of encouragement, each in their own way. And Mayuri's looking very sad there.
そうだ。これ。
And she wants to leave us a parting gift. It's the pin, the resistance pin from her father. In the end, we couldn't decipher the inscription, which is very unfortunate.
これあげるよ。あのラボの片隅にでもいいからさ。置いといて。
Well, at the very least, we'll have a keepsake to commemorate Suzuha. Even though it was her father's. The only keepsake of her father, I might add. Is she regretting her decision to leave? Most certainly. Is this pin meant to be proof that Suzuha Mane was here with us in this time?
ピンバッジのことだけどさ。
Apparently Daru has a question about the pin. Daru hesitates for a moment and then steps forward.
それと同じ図柄でラボ面みんなの分を作ったらどうかな。ラボ面の証つうか。
And now another piece of the puzzle falls into place. It was actually, turns out that Daru was actually trying to make duplicates for everyone of the Future Gadget Laboratory. Which I suppose is a interesting and rather unique gesture on his part.
それすっごくいいかもだよ。
And apparently it gets the Mayuri seal of approval.
珍しく気が利くじゃない。
And even Kurisu was in good spirits there.
なんかそういう使い方してもらえると、
So,
私としては照れちゃうな。
turns out that Daru wanted to make badge pins for all the lab members.
つうわけなんで画像はもう撮ったし、そのバッジは天音が持ってってよ。親父さんの大切な形見っしょ。
It's a good thing that Daru took a visual reference beforehand so she can keep the pin.
そうする。
It is your keepsake after all. Unfortunately, Rintaro still has reservations. There is nothing I can say. I could stop Suzuha leaving if I tried. But unless he goes, I can't save Mayuri.
はいはい、パンパカパーン。ここでマユシーから重大な発表があります。
And apparently Mayushii has a very important announcement to make, but unfortunately that's going to have to wait until the next episode. So when we return, adventurers, we shall see what Mayuri has to say, whatever it is. Possibly a farewell speech or some such thing. But we'll know soon enough. As always, adventurers, until next we meet.